In yesterday's video on the possible ways workplaces may decide to deal with the fallout of the Great Moral Panic of 2017, I included a story from the Miami Herald which reported on the, quote, awkward dance to replace a hug with a handshake between men and women working in the Florida state legislature. In the same story, a female lobbyist described a meeting with a male senator who insisted on having a chaperone present. Here's how she described it. I said, "Senator, why do you need a chaperone? I don't feel uncomfortable around you. Do you feel uncomfortable around me?" "Well," he said, "anyone can say anything with the door shut." And so I thought I would try and find some more real-world examples of workplaces that are implementing a neo-Victorian attitude towards workplace relations between men and women. And lo and behold, this story emerged just a few days ago in the wake of NBC's firing of Matt Lauer. NBC orders staff to rat out misbehaving colleagues or be fired. NBC has issued strict new anti-sexual harassment rules to employees, including that staffers must snitch on any misbehaving colleagues in the wake of the firing of disgraced Today Show host Matt Lauer. Encouraged to snitch on co-workers. Gee, I can't see how that could possibly go wrong. What if you misinterpreted what was going on between a couple of colleagues? She looked uncomfortable about what was said to her by a male colleague. Better report that. What's the standard of proof required? If you report an incident on someone's behalf, do they even have to agree? Or are you guilty by accusation? A source tells Page 6 that NBC employees have been ordered to report any inappropriate relationships in the workplace, and if they fail to do so, they could be fired for covering up for colleagues. Detailed rules have been issued about conduct in the office, including how to socialise and even how to hug colleagues, a source says. Romantic relationships at work are not exactly unusual, but now NBC says it's taking a zero-tolerance approach. Staffers have been told if they find out about any affairs, romances, inappropriate relationships or behaviour in the office, they have to report it to Human Resources, their superior or the company anti-harassment phone line. Staffers are shocked that they are now expected to snitch on their friends. And it's not entirely clear to me what they mean by inappropriate. Does zero tolerance mean you can't have a relationship of any kind? If it's two consenting adults, what would be inappropriate about it? Now, I personally have always taken the approach of don't shit where you eat, and that has served me well over the years. But I do understand that a not insignificant number of people meet their significant others at work. This article says about 18%. I've seen other numbers between 10 and 20%. So imagine if all companies took this approach. That would put the kibosh on a lot of relationships. I suspect there would be an increase in clandestine rendezvous. Perhaps companies will then hire private eyes to catch people in the act. And if you happen to see a couple of colleagues having lunch, is the suspicion of a relationship enough in the era of guilty by accusation? Plus, there's been a series of ridiculous rules issued on other office conduct. One rule relates to hugging. If you wish to hug a colleague, you have to do a quick hug, then an immediate release, and step away to avoid body contact. Yeah, that doesn't sound awkward. Also, there's strict rules about socialising, including not sharing taxis home and not taking vegans to steakhouses. Well, why would you take a vegan anywhere in the first place? And how exactly are they going to police this? What if you live near each other and it's just more economical to split the cab fare? Is it even legal to prescribe who you can and can't take a taxi with? Now, personally, I work from home, so none of this affects me, but it wouldn't affect me anyway. I don't hug people at work. I don't like it. I think it has something to do with the way you're brought up. I wasn't brought up like that, but I have cousins who were, and they give you a hug and kiss every time they see you. And I don't mind that so much because they're family, but I've never felt comfortable doing it at work, and perhaps having lived in Japan for 11 and a half years has something to do with it, as Japanese tend to be less physical. Greetings are more formal. They might shake your hand just because you're a foreigner, but a hug would be extremely weird in a work context, even for people you know well. Now, I suspect large corporations like NBC are more interested in protecting themselves against costly lawsuits and reputational damage than in policing people's behaviour and relationships. But I doubt this will be the last of such policies we hear of from large corporations as the great sex panic rolls on into the new year. So what do you think of NBC's new rules, and what will be the repercussions if companies everywhere adopt these kinds of policies? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you next time.